Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to do another drawing, surprise, surprise. I am really excited about today's drawing because it's really, I find it fun. What you're going to need today is something round. I have got this plate. I'd say it's a medium-sized plate, I think that's fair. Obviously the size of your round object that you're going to draw around will depend on the size of your paper that you're using. I'm going to be painting with watercolour, so I'm going to use watercolour paper and fine line pen that doesn't run with watercolour. But you can always draw it in pencil first, paint, wait for it to dry, and then go over it with pen if your pen isn't waterproof. Have you got everything you need? I hope so. Let's get going. Alrighty, so here is my plate. I'm just going to put it face down and draw around it. Now I'm going to use my pen straight away, but for those of you who don't want to do that, you could also use a pencil first and then go over it in pen in case you want to get it right. I am just going to do it in pen, and if it goes wrong, I'll just have to deal with it, but that's just how I roll. So you do you, whatever feels right. So thinking about where I'm going to draw now, I'm just going to start anywhere in the circle, doesn't matter where, and draw a squiggly line that's about this size, going from one edge to another edge. And now I'm just going to continue to do this all the way around. So I might start a little bit up on the original line and draw it right to the edge there, and then I'll come round on this side and start up and draw to the edge up here, but there's no rhyme or reason to this. You're just basically getting a nice kind of cushiony edge around the inner bit of your circle, and yeah, just go with the flow with this, whatever comes out for you. We're just going to be building this up. There's no wrong way to do this. You could even do it spiky or straight or however you like, but this is the vibes that I'm going for, is a nice soft lines, squiggly lines. Now with this video I might speed little sections up just so that you guys don't get really bored. So don't be alarmed or freaked out if suddenly my hand starts moving really quickly. This drawing and painting will take probably like a good half hour, 40 minutes or so. That's the reason why I'm just going to speed past some of the boring bits. But always feel free to pause it if you want to catch up, or skip bits if you're really bored. I don't want you to be bored, guys. That's not the point of today. But you can see that I'm really building up these lines coming right into the middle section, so I'm trying to kind of frame the center of the circle. I haven't actually identified where the circle is, where the center is, sorry. I'm just doing that with my eyes. So you can see here they're getting a little bit smaller, and I'm thinking, okay, we're coming towards the end now. I still need a big enough space in the middle like that. Ta-da! So now I'm going to come into that center section, and I'm going to just draw the tiniest little sun you will ever see. Well, maybe not you'll ever see, but a very small sun shape that's kind of protruding from one of the lumps in the middle, and then I'm just putting some cute little rays coming out the edge there. How darling is that? Very. Okay, now I'm coming to the top side, and I'm going to do an upside down shape here that's going to look like a kind of a curled wave, but again really tiny. So I'm basically creating a tiny little climate within this shape. So here I've got two snow-capped mountains, and then I'm just doing some extra lines on my wave to make it look a bit more wavy. Then on the other side I'm going to do just some long slim triangles to suggest like a little pine forest or something. So I've just chosen 4 different things that represent to me nature. You could use different things. I'm just drawing a little path down this mountain going towards the sun. But yeah, use your imagination if you want to do something different. So now I'm just gonna zoom back out and I'm just gonna find some slices of my previous shapes that I want to add detail to. So here I'm just doing a really small dot of this slice of the shape. Now you can be completely intuitive here and decide where you want to add extra lines to your squiggly shapes or whatever shapes you've done, because I'll show you here. So we're coming down towards me now, towards where I'm drawing, and I'm going to grow that shape a little bit bigger. So I'm just doing tiny little dots towards the center and then slightly bigger dots coming towards me in the middle, and then I'll come down even further eventually and do even bigger dots or circles to just kind of replicate that pattern. And I want to give the sense that you would be diving into this world. So the things that are closer towards the edge of the circle are going to be bigger because we're trying to give a kind of idea of perspective here. So I'm just doing kind of really loose circles here, just filling the space. It doesn't have to be perfect. PS, for those of you who have really good hearing, you might hear some loud bashy sounds in the background, and that is because we have got some builders outside the apartment, and they've just put up some scaffolding really close to our window, so I fear that we're going to have loads of noise for the next however long, so you can maybe hear it there. It was quite cool to watch them put the scaffolding up though. I told some of the people in my live video this morning, the guy is just so brave, but like there's no safety equipment. He didn't have a harness or a helmet or anything on. It's like, oh my goodness, it's like a spider climbing up the scaffolding. But yeah, anyway, so that's my explanation for some of the loud jolty sounds. All right, back to the drawing. So I'm just going to speed up my drawing here so you can see that I have kind of identified a little flow coming from the center and out, and now I'm going to do the same thing but on all sides. So I'm doing it on the right hand side now. I decided to go for lines, so I've gone for really close together small lines towards the center, and then they get wider as they come out. And on the other side, I'm doing like a random squiggle. Random squiggle, that's what I'm calling it. And see, I've just done this whole big section on the top left with a big squiggle. Now I'm coming back out with kind of squiggly dark dots, just creating some variety. You could use any kind of shape or mark that you like there. Just finishing that off there. And now it's time to paint. How exciting. So I'm going to start in the center and just do it by colors. So I know that in the center I want to have the background as this lovely pink color to give the suggestion of like a warm sunset or sunrise, or I don't know. Also, I just love this pink color, so that's why. So I'm just starting with this because it will kind of give me something to work from. I think if I started from the outer edge and worked in, I wouldn't have as clear an idea as like how the colours would sit together. So yeah, it's a mixture of alizarin crimson, Windsor red, and a little bit of yellow ochre. That's kind of the soft pink that I've gone for. But once this dries, it will lighten as well, so I might go over it with a second layer. And now I'm going on to my next colour, which is going to be a yellow ochre and a lemon yellow mixture. So I'm just going to identify which parts, and this is kind of random. There's not really like, I haven't got a predefined plan for this, but I want to kind of give the suggestion of undulating colours kind of in their sections. So this bottom section, I'm going to go for like browns and ochre yellows. So I'm just going to pick a few sections that aren't directly next to each other, but that are kind of protruding like we did with the pattern. So wherever these small dots turning into big circles are, I'll kind of give the suggestion of the yellow, and then I'll kind of move around the circle doing slightly different colours. So now I'm just coming in with my brown colour. I think this is a, what colour is it, Ness? It is a burnt umber, I believe, maybe mixed with a little bit of Indian red. See, I've got like a few brown blobs on my palette on the right there, and I kind of just like mix all of them together because I've got dark brown, which is really opaque, so it's often quite overpowering, so I often mix that with a bit of Indian red or burnt sienna, burnt umber, and just see what comes out really. There's no plan, but I like the contrast that I've got going on here between the yellow and the brown, just trying to give the effect of like earthy colours, and I'm not worrying too much because the yellow is still quite wet, so where it touches the brown, the colours will kind of mix together and seep, and that's cool with me. I quite like that effect. But if you want to do a really precise, crisp edged painting, then I would 100% recommend waiting for the first colour that you put down to dry, so that you don't get the opportunity for the wet and wet colours to meet. For the two wet colours to meet. Talk properly, Ness. So we're going turbo speed right now just to shorten the length of this video, but of course you can be doing this at your own pace. Take your time, get into the chill painting vibes, because that is what this is all about. Look at this gorgeous Indian red colour that I've got coming onto this section. I thought that I wanted to brighten the brown a bit, if that makes sense. And I know that I'm going to move to the right of the circle into a more purpley blue section that kind of falls in line with the wave on the top of the circle in the middle. So I want to take the brown to a more kind of red place. That was my thinking behind it anyway. You can see that I'm using the paper towel to clean off my brush as well, for those of you who don't use watercolour regularly. It's such a useful, actually essential point to have some paper towel ready for your wet brush to dab it off on. It makes cleaning your brush so much easier. So I'm happy with where this brown section is going, kind of falling down from the sun in the center and coming down towards me. But now I'm going to take it to the left, and I'm going to go to the left, with green. Excuse my little singing there. Because the green is coming from the pine tree triangles that I drew in the middle, so I'm going to give this a really earthy green hill forest kind of vibe. So I'll just speed this bit up for your convenience. You are welcome. But I just want to mention how lovely it is to paint in these predefined shapes. So all we're really doing with the paint is colouring in, essentially, which is why you could use colouring crayons or anything else to colour it. Oh, a little bit of dust on my brush there. But yeah, so with watercolour I find it a really nice quick way. I mean, it's relatively quick, obviously I've sped this up, but it actually is quite quick to fill a big section of your page with colour. So yeah, just enjoying that really. Now just thinking about where I'm gonna start bringing in the suggestion of blue, because at the top of the painting I want it to be blue to represent the wave and the sea, kind of going blue to purple. So I can just start linking that by adding bits of greeny blue to my green section, and then going all out with the blue on the top. Ooh, another bit of dust. Dust is such an annoying thing. Am I right? Like, seriously, dust is the bane of my life. Living in a flat where there's no carpet, it's all wooden floors or tiles, and like we're quite high, so we get loads of dust coming through the windows. It's not even dust, it's just like bits of fluff. But I'm constantly, no matter how much I clean my working desk that I'm working on right now, I just always get dust in my paint, in my brush, in my water pots. If anyone has a magical solution for this, and don't be cheeky, I do clean, I promise, then yeah, let me know, because it's such pain. Anyway, back to the painting Ness. Let's focus. So we're adding shades of blue now. So I've kind of given up on the green for now. I will come back to it though, but I think I'm getting all het up in the blue because it's such a gorgeous colour. So this blue is an ultramarine blue, but I often mix it a bit with sap green on my palette just there, because I really love the tone that it gives, or the shade that it gives when you mix it with a bit of sap green. And this ultramarine blue is from Winsor & Newton, but I use Schminker and Winsor & Newton brands, just because of ease, really. I can go into that at another time. If you have any questions, let me know. But the ultramarine blue that I use with Winsor & Newton gives a really lovely granulation effect when it dries. So all of the different colours will have different properties in all paints, but especially with watercolour, you can really see the actual like makeup of the colour in the paint looks different once they're dry. So you get this kind of cool, like almost like a snake skin pattern, or like a close-up look at skin pattern when the blue dries. So yeah, it's pretty nice. So I love using it as a colour. And you can see here that I'm going from blue to kind of like a grey, because I think that the brown meeting the grey, turning into kind of like a purple is my plan, will look really lovely all together. I'm really liking how it's coming together so far. So I'm just going to speed up my purple painting bit. So yeah, I'm just adding a little bit of purple and black actually. Black is a funny colour and I don't always like to use it, but it's a lazy way to dull a colour. And I think right here, right now is quite appropriate. Yeah, so I'm bringing in my purple tones, and this is a slightly lighter one at the top there. So just continuing to add slightly different shades, mixing in a little bit of blue, a little bit of black, and trying to add a little bit more kind of punch into the rest of the painting, maybe adding slightly darker tones. Coming back to the green side, which I previously abandoned for some reason. Using a bit of Viridian green here with a little bit of blue, and then bringing the blue around a little bit to the left as well. Just kind of seeing what I think looks appropriate. Bringing in a brighter yellow ochre here. It's a mixture of yellow ochre and a bit of lemon yellow to lighten it up a little bit in the sections, and really just considering where I want to place my colours. So I think I want to add a little bit of pink into the centre too here, just to kind of lighten it. And here's the second layer that I mentioned I might do earlier to just give it a bit more of a pop in the centre, and then linking it together with those last little sections that I left with the pink. So you guys at home can experiment here and just kind of think about if you want to go a little bit wacky in the center, because we've got our base colors going on, and I'm just trying to link the colors together now by adding little hints of pink in all of the different sections and little bits of blue, and just figuring out and finishing off the last few sections of color there. So now I'm going to focus my attention into the center of the piece. Let's go there. And I'm just going to finish the final little details. So I'm adding like the green for the hillside color. I'm going to do the same for the forest ferns, like a deep green color here. I've got to be a little bit careful using my big brush because it's tiny. The painting is tiny. So I've changed the colour of the mountains there. They were pink before, and now I think actually green is better, and lifted a bit of the colour out with my brush And finally, just adding some blue onto my gorgeous wave. And now I'm just going back because some of the paint has dried from my previous painting on the big bit, and I'm just going to deepen some sections to just give the painting a little bit more of a punch. With watercolour, often you're painting in layers, so you've got to wait for the first one to dry because it often dries a little bit lighter than when you first apply it. So I'm just going back in and adding my intentional dark patches there. Now I'm just going to lift out some of the wet colour that I left on these pine trees or forest trees. It was too wet, so you couldn't see the fine line drawing underneath. So I just got a clean, dry brush and lifted some of the colour. And now for the final little touch, I'm just painting my sun yellow. Yay! You could also paint it gold. And that's the end of my painting! There we have it, our crazy world of loads of different layers. that's the title of mine. This is a really cool drawing that you could do with loads of different aspects. This is actually inspired by a previous drawing that I did years ago, which looks a little bit like this. So this is kind of like a zoomed in version, I guess, of that. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I had so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed today's video, then please let me know. I love to hear your feedback and also see your pictures. So always send them my way. You can send them to me via Instagram or on the comment section or by email if you like. So yeah, get in touch. I hope that you feel chill and good, and I will see you next time. Bye.